Yes, let the world think what it likes. She leaves it behind her, melting in the fumes of her desires. Firstly, that cocktail. Such a trivial way to get to what she really wants, and for which she's ready to swallow a chunk of ice. After the ice in the cocktail, it's into him that she wants to see herself melting.
How long do you have to spend looking at a thing before you see a face in it? Does it take longer to find a familiar face than it does to find an unknown face? Or an imaginary one? In this case, do you see one? A face, I mean. Of one kind or another.
She wants to tremble in his hands like a gong. For days now, she has forgotten what it is to tremble, or just slightly, while dumbly watching her hands so useless, limp, and incapable of striking a gong, or of striking anything. Of taking her life in her hands, that life she doesn't know and yet wants.
Vaguely melancholic, or big, strong, cloudy mustaches, cloudy beard, furrowed eyebrows. Can you have a face without eyes? What about a landmass? Do you see a landmass?
It is an image as exotic as a gong when, before dusk, it starts to tremble, shaking up new dreams and lost memories.
Can you look at something in a particular language? In which language are you seeing this? In which language are the thoughts in your head as you watch and listen? And in which are you looking at the thing? What happens if they're not the same language?
This gong, palpitating with a strength that makes her clasp her hand pointlessly, that pushes her towards impossible tears and makes her tremble before the terrible hiatus of not knowing what she wants.
Does it matter what language an object was made in? How much so? What other circumstances of its fabrication matter?
At last, just for an instant, she could really tremble, her flesh and breath shaking like a gong.
Do you realize I have never seen this face with my own eyes? That I have never seen, nor smelled, nor heard, nor hefted it. That I have not studied it from all possible angles. In fact, can I even say with certainty that I've seen all four sides of a face?
At last, just during a short spell, she would know what she wants. A man returning her desire, putting his life back in her hands, and then his hands. The gong starts to tremble. She knows what she wants. She goes back to him and accept that cocktail.
Would I have been better off letting you believe I know this thing intimately? That I've seen it in the flesh, so to speak. Also, do you see that thing as I do?
It's all so terribly simple. He seems to find nothing odd about her waiting to accept his invitation to sit next to him and have a cocktail.
What is the value of assuming that a person speaking to you about a thing knows the thing? That he or she has already, say, measured the top of it in comparison to his or her left hand?
He does not seem surprised that before she will accept his offhand invitation, she leaves, then comes back wearing different clothes. The fact that at last she'll have a cocktail apparently gives him no reason at all to find her hesitant in any way.
Should I have gone to see it? To do some tests regarding the not entirely flat part, where I could say a gash begins. And if so, how? Or is it rather where the gash ends? How do you tell the difference? Is the tip of an ear a beginning or an ending?
And which cocktail would she now be so good as to accept? And what will he have? She asks. A ruse to find a moment in which to somehow bring back the name of a possible drink and find out the precise meaning of the word cocktail in his vocabulary.
Do you see a U or a V? Do you know how the word or is meant to function in the previous sentence? Where, or rather when, is a V more than half of a W? Less? Same question and a half. But with U instead of V.
All she can answer back when he suggests a gin and tonic is that she'll accept. So she comes back to find him in front of the cocktail she has decided to accept. He tells her of his life beside another sea. He speaks simply, as if talking of another's life, or of one who has passed to the other side. His words seem to tone down the din of the sea.
Did you know I've spent many years taking pictures of interestingly textured walls? Well, how would you have known that? Do you think you would be capable of distinguishing a Norwegian wall from a French one? Without the context, I mean.
He speaks as though they of course were on the same side, as though she already understood what he tells her about the friend he goes out to sea with, Freddie or Margot, or his job in life insurance, which bores her, but only slightly.
Would you believe me if I told you I could tell you more or less exactly where each wall in my collection is located, the country we were in at the moment I photographed it, what the sky looked like, the relative temperature.
His words, like a warm sea, surround her softly. Unwittingly, she wets the inside of her lips. She'd so like to take her place in a life so simple, clear and warm, or that it is how he tells it, leaning towards her, whispering to her the desire for life, even in the shape of a stranger from a distant sea.
Who was there besides me and the wall? Or is it besides the wall and me? More importantly, would it matter? What would such details add, do you think, to your aesthetic experience? Or would they detract from it?
She now looks at him without hearing what he tells her. She notices his glittering eyes as they glance to one side. Yet he tells her nothing of his other life here, besides the sea.
Would it have made a difference had I told you I knew the face in the thing in question here, knew it intimately, but did not and do not know the thing itself?
They dine, then go up, and it's the victory drum and gong. Without touching or speaking, they suavely go up to her bedroom, as though following the beating of a drum.
Do you remember the time before the time when everyone had a camera? Everyone had a camera in his pocket all the time.
It is like the slow descent of the mallet towards the gong. As at the moment when the stick above the drum remains suspended, or those about to dine savor their patient hunger. The door closes like a gong. They are in no hurry, giving time for the uprising of their symmetrical desires, slowly paced by the gong of the sea. Then they rise up against each other, rising up bodily. They dine on their reciprocal pleasure, while within them rises up the fever of release, each like a gong, sounding the end and a new beginning.
To what extent do you suppose the photographs you are now looking at right now look like the photographs I am not showing you, but could have shown you. Photographs of walls in Amasara, in Ango de Place, or in New Haven.
They dine their fill more easily than from any stew or drumstick. Under the storm's gong, they dine under reciprocal hunger, beating the drum.
Are we not, the two of us, having more or less the same experience right now? Only from opposite sides of the presentation of this performance that you are witnessing right now. With respect to our middling but secretly lacunary certainty of the real life and true nature of the thing. Is lacunary a word?
The next day, no more thunderbolts or rain. After that night, a masterpiece of pleasure, nothing more. Played out against the wind and the thunder. Stretching on her bed, she happily repeats, "After the rain comes the sun," part of which is that clap of thunder which has left her carefree about the next day, be it with blue skies or be it with rain again.
Do you know what the thing is made of? Whether it's heavy? I mean, yes, of course it's heavy. But what kind of heaviness? Whether it's expansive, whether it was expansive.
But even the bad weather was no more. And even if that day she did feel sheltered from any rain, it was just as well that the sun spoke with its voice of thunder and made its silent lightning shine on the waters. No more howling.
Whether it spits out little puffs of dust when moved, like the cinder blocks that support the bookshelves in my bedroom. Is it made of concrete? Are cinder blocks made of concrete, for that matter?
She wanted to hold the weight of the next day in her arms, like a stray cat. Now light as butterfly wings, nothing more than a memory soon, she said to herself. All that rain, and yet into the calm, into the depths of the next day, with its wings loaded, slipped the terrifying thunder of the next day to come, and the next, nothing more than thunder and desolate rain.
Whom did I mean when I said we? Was it hard to transform the thing between its original state and the state in which you see it now?
She goes looking for him at the gong sounds, at the time for a cocktail, at the end of a day punctuated by the sound of a whispering sea. It is high time. On the beach, she had tried a marvelous cocktail with a woman's name at lunchtime.
Just what was the original state of the thing? What does that even mean? Do you see an owl?
As for him, she is not looking yet, just thinking about that first cocktail the day before. She wants the sound of her lover's voice again. Cocktail in hand, she waits for the right time as the sun sets. She listens out for the sound of the gong. No one.
Am I wrong to assume that if you are listening to this text, you might also be standing in front of the thing in question? Do you know how the word also is meant to function in the previous question? Am I wrong to assume that you are listening to this text?
She thinks, keep looking, little one. Then the sound of a tear dropping from her freckles to the table. A cocktail flattens out her disappointment.
Are you listening to me read this text? Or are you just hearing me read this text? What is my voice made of? Is its texture more or less coarse than that of the thing?
She who goes looking doesn't always find. Whatever the time, she stops looking. With the sound of the clock passing the time on her third cocktail.
Where, or rather when, does a detail become a pixel? When does enhance replace shanty? Or when did it? Same question, same temporal bifurcation. But with texture instead of enhance, and context instead of shanti.
He must have left for other rains and another sea. Too bad. There are plenty of other drops when it rains. and fish in the sea, even though it never rains, but it pours.
How long do you have to spend looking at a thing before you see a sex organ? What makes a landmass? What isn't one? Should there be a footnote or an explanation for Shanti?
Yet to have left like that, without a word, leaving her beside the sea, now grown tender, to join up with another set of friends from a distant sea, with its coast drenched by gentle rains.
How big? How strong? Do you see a skull? Do you see a tear?
He would have left anyway. Of course, one way or another. But why no fleeting farewell beside this, their sea?
What happened to this face to make it look so sad? Can you cry? Can you cry without eyes? Do you see a wall?
You feel less let down when leaving than when being left. She curses the serene sky. She dreams of new rains.
What happened to this face? Do you see a wall? What have they done to you, my friend? What have they done to you?
He must have left for other rains and another sea.
Where did they find you? Where are your eyes? Where will you go?
Because you failed to make it home again. If she saw you, you'd now just be spit on.
The road is like molasses, and the rain like wasp stings, or like the acid shit of feral pigeons with TB foot stumps.
The highway is awash with drudge and lights. The petrol curls in the hollows, while the lumps of brighter matter wink back through the night's veil of haziness. It isn't even dark anymore. The urban's glow's raven casts glints with the silent flap of its wings.
If she saw you here, she'd drag you back home, bathe you in bleach, and slap you till your face sings with pain, and your mind, your feet start to roam the streets of panic where no cars ever drive or other pedestrians wander, just a rush of papers and cans, clever cogs clacking behind you as you blunder into the icy wind of fear and tears.
If she saw you here, she'd spit on your tomb, pack you off with the Jews, gypsies and queers for your own good. Mind you go plant a bloom in the ash, then soap herself down with you.
In her house, the lampshades are cozy, true masterpieces of tack porcelain beasts. Shit dust on the polished parquet, no time for anything but polish pets and priests. Her dogs are cuddled. The cockatoo clock chimes. Her only daughter has become a whore. Her only son has become a banker. Her only fun is getting shagged by lawyers. Her new ambition's another fur coat, but not from Mummy's darling. Little sweetheart, come and kiss Mummy. That's right. Yes. Never mind nasty scent lipstick spittle. It was all for your own good, my princess. Up the wooden stair. Wait for the slipper.
In bed she prayed, may God make her trip her meanness to vanish her childhood memories, to surface something a miracle, anything to make this stop her, die or me instead, to shrink to a particle of light and nothingness, to run away into the woods and hide out in the trees and creepers, as splinters rain and the clay creeps through the cracks in my shoes and the freeze inches into my chilblain toes and heel, now roots to my sad and solid stance. Here, among other sowing silences that peel the bark from their sap and their years of rings, as shifting as tobacco smoke that stings, as it comforts, then dissolves in the air, seeping down between the branches of oak.
When she runs away, she shaves off her hair. She gets so filthy she could fucking choke. She has his name tattooed on both her arms. She tells him her name is Mary, it ain't. She grins, kisses his lips, and then his palms, lays them on her breasts, and looks at the paint stuck around the quick of his nails, and says, "Love me or I'll scream the house down. Love me or I'll sell you to the pigs. Love me, Fezhead, then marry me for your work permit."
There may be life in clouds of Venus. It has evolved off the surface like angels and hovers under a hood of acid, protected from the sun's naked spangles of radiation, just floating in mid-air, where the pressure becomes bearable.
She breaks his plates to avoid washing up. She smashes down his food on the table. She feeds rat poison to his just-bought pup. She sends a pack of dog shit to his boss. She urinates in his aquarium. She tells him that she couldn't give a toss. She puts him on a course of barium. She tells him that he'll be the death of her. She tells him to stop seeing his mother. She spits on the steak in the frying pan. She flicks large bogeys into his salad. She dreams of doctors penis a man. She mounts her stallion and then mounts the lad. She watches as he starts to break her things. She screams for her porcelain dogs and cats. She pisses him off when she laughs and sings. She misses him, she thinks, after their spats. She lies to herself like she lies to you. She thinks she's oh so hard, done by in fact. She's clinically depressed, unfucked shrew. She hasn't noticed how the paint is cracked. She runs from life like maids from a rapist. She speaks too loudly and roars when she's pissed. She makes up her face. She makes up her life. She never forgives the slightest insult.
Taste is back with my appetite. The knife has shifted from wrist to steak, while the cold of the dread looks loopier than ever.
At the start of the evening, the very air is shaking from the gong.
She wasn't expecting this, not so soon. Shaken up as she is by that celestial beating.
My hand is shake-free from table to mouth.
She detests the dim, she scorns the clever. She says it's too hot and fake in the south. She says the north gives her rheumatism.
Still 1 hour left before dismissal. She turns her gaze toward the open window.
Can you have a face without eyes? Do you see eyes?
There may be iced life out on Europa.
After lunch, my kids laugh at the prism of my lemon sorbet and it's vodka.
How childish I was. How stupid to stand there shaking, trembling.
She has absorbed reading Gone with the Wind as a comic strip.
There is life in acid and in darkness.
She remembers childhood's mustard, and less, she remembers ripping out other stalks.
In his dream, he is following a strange woman. She wears uneven high heels and limps.
Would it have made a difference had I told you I knew the face in the thing in question here? Knew it immediately, but did not and do not know the thing itself.
Misery eggs itself from this ocean.
She doesn't shut up. She talks. And she talks.
Clandestine doubt. Public certitude.
Melancholy breakup. Submerged integrity.
The other day, I read a description of clinical depression. Well, that's it, I said. It's over for now. Till the next time.
She opens her blouse to flash her left tits.
Yes, that your life is your own. Overflowing, sure, and simple like the soft clash of ice cubes clinking at this time. A signal, simple and lugubrious, that it is time for a cocktail.
Vaguely melancholic, but also sort of sturdy and athletic, like a gym teacher from a couple generations ago.
I said, it's over now. It's over now till this rhyme.
The views is short. And who really gives a...
She spreads the laundry across the clothesline. The sheets flap in flight toward the windy sky.
It's an evening of rain, thunder, and wind.
She is now rearranging porcelain.
I am the one who picks her up and saves her.
Abrupt precipice. Easy peak.
Acute contraction. Weak dimension.
Out the door, slut. The snow has turned to rain.
She dribbles to herself. It's so Sing Sing.
We did everything. We did everything.
She dribbles.
We did everything.
She dribbles to herself.
We did. We did.
It's so Sing Sing.
We did everything.
Sing Sing.
We did
Sing Sing.
everything.
Sing Sing.
We did everything.
Sing Sing.
We did everything.